Hello and welcome to cgtuts.com. My name is Karan Shah, and in this tutorial we will learn about Blender, a free, powerful open source program for 3D modeling, animation and more. In this tutorial I won't be doing details on every feature of Blender. Instead, I'll show you the basics of Blender interface, where the things are kept, how to interact and access tools, and some modeling commands. Overall, an introduction of Blender. A lot of people say that the Blender interface is very difficult and complicated. Things look difficult at first because we usually compare the interface with the programs we are used to, but gradually after learning I found that it is very easy to use and the interface is set and designed for a fast productivity. Also, in the next release of Blender, the interface will enhance, but the shortcuts and the way you use to access different tools will remain the same, so it is no harm if you follow this tutorial. Also, if you learn the current version, it will be very easy for you to adapt the new interface, and of course you don't want to wait till the next release, as you want to start with 3D now. So the main focus of this tutorial will be understanding the interface and the default screen setup, 3D viewport, basic 3D modeling commands and tools, the button window, introduction to keyframing in Blender, and video editing in Blender. To make Blender easier, I have chosen to introduce the button window at a later stage, as most commands are easily accessed through hotkeys and keyboard shortcuts. When you open Blender, you will notice that our window is divided into two parts, the 3D view and the button window. Each window or frame has a header, which has menus and buttons in context to what type of window it is. The header can be placed either on top or bottom of the window, or we can have no header at all. To access header options, right click anywhere on the empty region of the header and select the option. To split any window, take your cursor to the border or the edge of any frame, right click when the cursor changes and select split view, and then left click to confirm. I repeat, take the cursor to the border or the edge, and when it changes, right click, split view, left click to confirm. You can drag the edge or the border and resize any frame according to your needs. Similarly, we can merge different windows into one. Right click on the edge, select merge view, and then select the window you want to get rid of and left click to confirm. Right click on the border, merge view, left click to confirm. We can also select what type of any particular window should be. We can choose from the window type menu from the left corner menu button. We can change the type of window according to our requirements. To select, left click on this button. This brings out the window type list. Whenever I move my mouse, that particular frame is automatically selected. That means you don't have to click and select the viewport. We can also save a screen layout. Click on this button and select add new. Rename it to anything you want. To make this a default view or the layout Blender should come up whenever it is open, press Ctrl U, left click to confirm. Escape or right click or move your cursor away to cancel it. Now we start with the actual using of Blender. Blender is super easy to use if you use keyboard hotkeys. Yes, I recommend to start with the keyboard shortcut first and then know where the button for the particular feature is kept. This is easy to learn and really fast. So in general, your left hand will be on keyboard and right one on the mouse. First we start with the navigation. Middle mouse button to rotate, or you can use Alt with left click to rotate, Shift plus middle mouse button to pan. You can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in or zoom out. And there are keyboard shortcuts to go directly to the left view. Press 3 in the numpad. Front view, you press 1 in the numpad, and 7 for the top view. And pressing them with the control key gives the opposite view, that is control plus 3 will give you the right view, control plus 1 will give you back view, and control plus 7 key will give you the bottom view. 4 and 6 rotating left and right, 8 and 2 are for rotating up and down, 5 turns off or on the perspective view. So the numpad keys are our shortcut keys for the views. To select anything in Blender, we use right click. To select multiple objects, hold shift and then right click on the objects. To drag select, press B and press A to deselect, and to select all, press A, and to deselect, press A again. Let's start with adding objects. Instead of going to the top menu, use the shortcut key space. Pressing space key gives you the toolbar. It has all important menu items which are listed either on top or in the header of the 3D window. In the add menu, we have a list of all the objects: mesh, surface, curves, camera, lamps and more. So let's add a simple cube. Press space anywhere in the 3D view, add, mesh, cube. To delete any object, right click to select and press delete or X. Now we'll do some basic transforms. Those are scale, grab or move, and rotate. To rotate, select the cube, right click to select, just press R and move the mouse in any direction, and left click to confirm. Press escape or right click to cancel. The rotation here is done on the context of the view. To rotate it only on X axis, press R to rotate and then press X. This will rotate the object only on the X axis. Similarly, press R and then Z or Z to rotate only on the Z axis, and R and then Y for Y axis. To free rotate it on any direction, press R and then R again. To rotate with precision, press shift while moving the mouse. To rotate the object on a particular angle, for example, you want to input the angle numerically through keyboard, then press R, then N to enter numeric value. Let us rotate this 30 degrees, so I type 30 and press enter. By default, this will rotate the object clockwise. Press R and then N and then type -45 to rotate it counterclockwise. Similarly, to scale, select the object, right click to select and just press S. Move your mouse up, press shift while moving, left click to confirm. Just like rotate, to scale it only on X axis, press S to scale and then X, left click to confirm or escape to cancel. Similarly, if you want to scale only on the Y axis, press Y and Z for Z axis. To move any object, the hotkey is G. G for grab. Right click on the object and then press G. Move your mouse anywhere and then left click to confirm or right click to cancel or escape to cancel. Let's move on. Another useful command is the duplicate command. Right click to select any object, Press Shift D to make duplicate. Move your mouse and left click to confirm its position, and delete to delete it. If you press escape after duplicating, that is after Shift D, the new or the duplicated object will be sharing the same space with the original object. Then we can grab and move it anywhere later, or rotate or scale. Another useful hotkey is the Z key or Z key. This flips through object view mode from transparent to solid, from wireframe to solid. To edit the geometry of our mesh modeling, we have to go into edit mode. Right click to select the object and press tab key in the keyboard, and we enter into edit mode. We see that we have vertices. These dots here are the vertices or points. A line between two vertices is an edge, and this is a face. A face consists of minimum of 3 points. The basic transformation commands for the edit modes remains the same. We can select any point by right clicking on it, select multiple points by holding Shift key and then right clicking, or we can drag select with the B key. We can select all points with the A key, or deselect again with the A key. To select a loop, press Alt and then right click on that loop. Now we can also choose the select mode from these buttons here placed on the header of the 3D view. We can have edge select mode, that is we can right click select edges. Same for faces. We can directly select faces by right clicking on them instead of selecting 4 vertices or 4 edges. And this is the vertex select mode. Let's drag select the top 4 vertices. We can move them with the G key, rotate with R, and scale with the S key. Again, to rotate, move or scale them along with any particular axis, just press X, Y or Z after the hotkey, as we learned in the object mode, or the middle mouse button. Press O to enable proportional editing. Now when you move, rotate or scale any selected point, you will notice it smoothly deforms the surface of model, and unselected vertices are also affected. You can increase or decrease the range of the effect with the mouse wheel. You can choose from different fall-offs. Hold Shift key while moving to give more precision and accuracy. This also works with rotate and scale. And hold Control key while moving if you want to snap your points. You can choose more snapping option from here. Now we move on. Shift D to duplicate them, and delete key to delete. Now we'll learn some new commands which are helpful for modeling process. First, select the top 4 vertices. To extrude, just press E. Select region to extrude the entire face or region. Select edges to extrude only edges, and finally select vertices if you want to extrude only vertices. This menu will not pop up when you are in edge select mode or in face select mode. We can also extrude while moving the mouse and pressing Control key. Next is the knife tool. Select the edges you want to cut and press K to bring out the knife tool menu. Select the exact option. We notice that our cursor changes to a knife. Now mark or intersect the edges you want to cut by dragging or clicking. Press enter, and the new vertices will come in the exact point of intersection. Similarly, with the midpoint option, the edges are split into exact halves. The most useful and handy of them is the loop cut option. The keyboard shortcut is Ctrl R. Press Ctrl R and you will notice a loop running around. Move your mouse and it asks for you where to loop cut. Left click to confirm. Then again it asks for the exact position you want to loop cut. Left click to confirm or right click to cancel. You can also increase or decrease the value of loop cut by scrolling the mouse wheel up or down. Next command we will learn is how to join or merge two or more vertices. Select two or more vertices and press Alt M to merge. This brings option where we can choose where we want to merge the points, whether all vertices should merge at first vertex selected, at center, or at the last point selected. This is helpful when we have to stitch parts of mesh to another. Another way to join vertices is to bridge them by making face or edges between them. Select two vertices and press F. We see that we have an edge joining the 2 points. Now to make a face, select a minimum of 3 points or 4 points, as a face contains a minimum of 3 points, and then press F key. If you are in edge mode, then select 2 edges and press F. If you want to make face for many vertices, or in other words if you want to fill, select all vertices and then press Shift F. Make sure the object is not open, as in this case we select all and press Shift F and nothing happens. Now if we join the 2 points and close the object and then select all and press Shift F, we now have filled points. Next command is to triangulate the mesh. Select all vertices and press Ctrl T to triangulate. Now we have all faces converted into minimum possible polygon, that is a triangle. This is helpful to count how many polygons or triangles your model has. All the figures are displayed here: number of vertices, edges and faces. To make quad out of 2 triangle, select 2 adjoining triangle and press F or Alt J. To make quad faces out of many triangle faces, select all and press Alt J. Now another important command while in edit mode is the W key. By pressing the W key we have our edit mode special commands menu. We can subdivide our mesh. The rest of these 4 are variation of the subdivision. We have merge option. I already told you the shortcut Alt M, or you can access merge command with the W key. Next is remove doubles. Now sometimes few vertices, 2 or more, happens to share same space accidentally, or that is they are on each other in the exact position. For example, if we select these and I press Shift D to duplicate and left click to confirm the position instead of moving the new ones away, What I have is that the duplicated vertices are sharing the same position with the old ones. Now if I count our vertices, we have more than what we see. So to remove any duplicates, we press W, remove duplicates, and then any duplicate vertices sharing the same space are deleted, giving you the number of vertices removed. Next are hide and reveal. Select few vertices and press W, hide to hide them, and reveal to reveal them back. Things work differently while you are in edge or face select mode. Select face to hide them. Now another way of hiding is select vertices of face or edge and then just press H, and to reveal the shortcut is Alt H. This also works in the object mode. H to hide any object and Alt H to reveal, and tab to switch between edit and object mode. Select swap. As the name suggests, swaps the selected points of faces with the selected or unselected ones. Another important command is the bevel. This gives a smooth bevel to your mesh. Smooth will smooth out the mesh. Then set smooth and set solid option switches between blocky and smoothing of the mesh. The difference between set smooth and smooth option is that the smooth option smooths out the geometry of the mesh, whereas the set smooth option makes the object look non-blocky or non-polygonal. Apart from these basic commands, there are more. You can explore them and learn their shortcuts by accessing them from the mesh menu. You will realize that you already learned most of them, or you'll come across commands by following some project specific Blender tutorials also. Okay, now we move to the next part, the header of the 3D view. Now before learning these buttons, you will realize that you have already learned to access most of them through the hotkeys I told earlier. First one, a quick shortcut regarding the display type. You can switch between solid and wireframe mode with the Z button. Same in the edit mode, Z to switch between solid and wireframe mode. And another thing related to display is this button. This makes your object, when in solid mode, not wireframe mode, but when in solid view, transparent in edit mode. Now you can see, select and manipulate the vertices or edges of faces behind. Next to this are these three select mode. You already know this by now: point select, edge select, and face select mode. And you know these snapping options and the proportional editing options. Now these proportional editing options are only available in edit mode. If we switch back to object mode, it's gone, and we now have these small many buttons. These are layer buttons. Each box represents a layer. The shortcuts are the number keys, not from the numpad, but the numbers above the alphabets. You can also select with mouse and multi-select with shift mouse click. Next we see is the manipulator or widget. This gives graphical interface to move, rotate or scale, and you can choose from various orientations. Next here we can set the pivot point for rotate and scale things. This works both in edit and object mode. This is the display type or the draw type select, from wireframe to shaded to texture preview. Shortcut, as I told you, is Z to switch from wireframe to any other mode previously selected. This helps us select our work mode, that is we can choose to work in edit mode, object mode, sculpt mode and many more. You already know this. The hotkey is tab to switch from edit mode to previously working mode. Now this menu here changes depending whether you are in object mode or edit mode. Most of the commands I have taught you with shortcuts. You can access them and more from here. This is select mode. You can access them and more from here. This is select menu and also changes from edit mode and other. Next to this is the view menu. You have already learned these, you can explore more. One of the important things here is the background image option. Here we can set any image in the background for reference. Load any image. We can set the transparency level and we have more options. The background image is only shown in the right, front, left, back, up or down views and not in any other angle or in perspective mode. Next is the view properties. You have options to display or not to display grid, axis, lines and other options. And this you are already familiar with this. Here we have what type of window it is, 3D view, button window, etc. This last button is the render view button. This renders only what we have in a 3D view and no other effects are rendered. Okay, so next chapter is the button window. Here is the option to choose button window type for any window frame. Similar to 3D viewport, we can zoom in and zoom out with plus and minus key of the numpad. We see that buttons are categorized into different panels. These can be dragged and placed anywhere. We also see that two panels are tabbed in one panel. We can detach the panel by dragging it out and place any two or more panel into one. Just place it over any panel and when it gets highlighted, release the mouse. These panels can be arranged horizontally or vertically, or we can also place it freely. Let me first split it into two and assign this window type to 3D view. Now in the button window we right click on empty area. We get option to align button panels horizontal or vertical. I'm dragging with middle mouse button. Let me join these windows. Right click, join, confirm. Okay, these buttons here are the context buttons, that is the type of button panels are being displayed as they are grouped into different categories. And these buttons here are the sub contexts. Like for shading we have another 5 sub options. First we have logic or the game engine. Shortcut is F4. Second is scripting. For most of modelers and animators to begin with, we can skip these two. Let's start with the third context, shading. The shortcut key is F5. Now the shading settings have 5 more sub-context panels for lamps, for materials, for objects, texture settings, radiosity and the world settings. We can cycle through the sub-context by hitting F5 again and again. F5, F5 for material, F5, F5, F5 and F5. But we do have a direct shortcut for texture settings, that is F6, and world settings F8. I'm not going to do these buttons in details as this tutorial is just a basic introduction of Blender interface and some modeling commands. Now in the lamp section we see no panels right now. This is because we have no lamps selected. The button window changes automatically according to the object selected and the working mode, object mode or the edit mode. Let's add a lamp, space, add lamp. Now we have all lamp setting options. These are type of lamps, other settings like colors, intensity, etc. Let's move to material settings for objects. Here we have preview panel, material name, colors, ramps, mirror settings and more. Texture settings. Next subcontext is texture, shortcut is F6. Next is radiosity, and finally the world settings, where we have sky color, stars, mist, AO settings and world texture setting panels. Now we move on to our next context button, objects, shortcut is F7. Here we have our constraints panel. The second subcontext is where we have physics option, fields, cloth, soft body and fluids, and the third one for the particle system. Then the fifth type of buttons for editing the objects. Here we have vertex group options, mesh panel, multi-res, useful when in sculpt mode. As you see, more panels appear as we enter into sculpt mode. Here we can find list of modifiers and the shape panel for blend shapes. Now as we enter into edit mode, from here or by pressing tab, we have more panels and buttons useful in editing geometry. We have mesh tool panel and mesh tool more. Most you have already learned from the shortcuts like hide, reveal, extrude. Instead of learning through button, it is easier to learn and work with shortcuts in Blender, so I decided to start directly with the hotkeys. Sixth and final context buttons are the rendering panels. First let's see the format panel. Here we can set the frame size of our rendered image or the rendered animated movie. The file type. Here are some presets for the dimensions and frame rate. We can set the directory in output panel. This is our render button. Shortcut is F12. We have all the options for render settings. This is for rendering animation. We can select the frame range from here. And we have our bake panel to bake normal map, AO map, displacement map and more. And here we have our audio option panels. Next in this tutorial I'll tell you a quick introduction to animation commands. As we learn, this displays our current frame position. We can drag right or left to select any number, or we can hit the left or right arrow key on the keyboard to increase the value by 1. If we press up arrow key or down arrow key, we can increment or decrease the value by 10. To insert a frame, just press I on the keyboard. Here we have options to what to keyframe. Right now I will keyframe the object's location point, scale and rotation angle, because I will be animating all three of them. So I select lock rot scale, hit up arrow to go to frame 11. Now on the 11th frame, let's move our cube, rotate it a bit and scale it up, and then I press I on the keyboard to insert a keyframe and select lock rot scale. Shift plus left arrow will take our frame marker to the first frame. Press Alt A to preview animation in the 3D view. Escape or space to stop. Let me just split this window. For animation, important window types are the timeline. Here we can see our keyframes marked. We can drag in the timeline, and here is the record button. If we don't want to use the I key to keyframe, this automatically generates keyframe. Next we can have IPO curve window. Press Ctrl plus middle mouse button to zoom in, Shift plus middle mouse button to pan. You can also use mouse wheel to zoom in, zoom out. Another useful window is the NLA editor and the action editor for armatures. Apart from modeling, animation and game engine, Blender also has a very powerful video editing features. We can access video sequence editor from this drop down menu. Now all these are the presets for different window layouts, customized according to need. We have window layout preset for animation, modeling, material, scripting and video editing. You can also save your own custom layout by clicking add new. For example, I want a timeline and IPO curve editor, and I can save this layout, name it my layout or animation 2. You can also delete any layout from this button. Now moving on to the video editor. This is the video sequence editor, timeline. This is the IPO curve editor for tweaking any effects applying. This is the preview area, rendered preview area. We can add image sequence, video files and audio files by pressing space. We can zoom in, zoom out with mouse wheel or by holding control key and middle mouse button. Pan with middle mouse button. To access more options, click on this subcontext button here. Okay, that's it for this basic introduction. Happy blending.